Hello and welcome. My name is Meepolis, she, they, and this is Literally Graphic. And today I'm debuting another comic and graphic novel reading project, much like my participation in the A to Z of Queer Lit video series and my Black comic creator series. I wanted to make reading more books by and about people who fall anywhere outside of what ableism says is a quote normal person. Obviously, this will include people who identify as disabled, but also include mental health, neurodiversity, deafness, chronic illness, medical memoirs, and other ways in which people's bodies and minds are stigmatized. Obviously, there's a lot of overlap between these categories, but I just want to respect how people see themselves and highlight what people are doing at this important intersection of oppression. Like with my Black comic creator series, I'll take some time in each video to highlight a creator I've been learning from who can speak with a lot more authority than I can. Today's pick is the podcast, The Accessible Stall, link in the description. From their About page, quote, "The Accessible Stall is a disability podcast hosted by Kyle Kachadarian and Emily Ladau that keeps it real about issues within the disability community. Because we each have different disabilities and mobility levels, we approach everything we talk about with two unique viewpoints, offering our listeners a fresh insight into how differences in disability can color your experiences and perspectives. And we never shy away from offering our honest opinion, even if they go against the grain of the disability community at large. We always speak our minds," end quote. Before moving on to the books on my TBR, some of the books I've already reviewed that I see being in this category, that might be a good way to get your TBR going. Dancing After 10 by Vivian Chong and Georgia Weber. Quote, "In late 2004, Vivian Chong's life was changed forever when a rare skin disease, 10, toxic epidermal necrolysis, left her with scar tissue that would eventually blind her. As she was losing her sight, she put down as many drawings on paper as she could to document the experience. In Dancing After 10, Chong teams up with cartoonist Georgia Weber, whose graphic autobiography, Dumb, chronicled her own disability, to trace her journey out of the darkness and into the spotlight. Chong now expresses her art through singing, stand-up, drumming, running, and dancing. This graphic novel is an inspirational tale and a powerful work of graphic medicine." End quote. My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness and Solo Exchange Diaries by Kabi Nagata. Quote, "An honest and heartfelt look at one young woman's exploration of her sexuality, mental well-being, and growing up in our modern age, told using expressive artwork that invokes both laughter and tears. This moving and highly entertaining single volume depicts not only the artist's burgeoning sexuality, but many other personal aspects of her life that will resonate with readers." End quote. Rock Steady, Brilliant Advice for My Bipolar Life by Ellen Forney. A follow-up to her memoir, Marbles, Mania, Depression, Michelangelo, and Me, which apparently I don't have a video for. Quote, "Rocksteady turns the focus outward, offering a self-help guide of tips, tricks, and tools by someone who has been through it all and came through stronger for it." End quote. El Defo by C.C. Bell. Quote, "Starting at a new school is scary, even more so with a giant hearing aid strapped to your chest. At her old school, everyone in CC's class was deaf. Here she is different. Here she is sure the kids are staring at the phonic ear, the powerful aid that will help her hear her teacher. Too bad it also seems certain to repel potential friends." End quote. About Betty's Boob by Vero Cazot and Julie Rochelot. Quote, "An inspiring and surprisingly comedic tale of loss and acceptance told largely through silent, sequential narrative about Betty's Boob is a seminal work from master storytellers Vero Cazot and Julie Rochelot. Betty lost her left breast, her job, and her guy. She does not know it yet, but this is the best day of her life." End quote. Moving along to the stuff I haven't read yet, there will be links in the description as my reviews go live, and once I finish this initial 10, I'll post another TBR video, and of course suggestions are always welcome. First off, we have Menopause, a Comic Treatment, an anthology of short comics recently nominated for an Eisner Award, published by Penn State University Press. Balancing levity with sincerity, these comics unapologetically depict menopause and all its attendant symptoms, from hot flashes and vaginal dryness to forgetfulness, social stigma, anxiety, and shame. Created from a variety of perspectives, they represent a range of life experiences, ages, gender identities, ethnicities, and health conditions. The common thread uniting these stories is the affirmation that, while we can and should laugh at ourselves, no one should be ashamed of menopause. The comics in this book encourage us to share our experiences and to support one another and ourselves through self-care and community. End quote. Next up, I want to read and talk about Taking Turns, Stories from HIV/AIDS Care Unit 371 by M.K. Zurich, published again by Penn State University Press. Quote, in 1994, and at the height of the AIDS epidemic in the United States, M.K. Zurich took her first nursing job at Illinois Masonic Medical Center in Chicago as part of the caregiving staff of HIV/AIDS Care Unit 371. Taking Turns pulls back the curtain on life in the ward, end quote. My third pick, although this numbering doesn't really stand for anything, is 1,000 Colored Castles by Gareth Brooks. Quote, the surreal lives side by side with the everyday in this graphic novel about life with Charles Bonnet syndrome, a condition in which a person with partial or severe blindness has complex, often bizarre hallucinations. Gareth Brooks' rich artistic crayon drawings pull the reader into Miriam's vibrant and unnerving world, showing the frustration and fear that arise as a result of this unique condition and the moments of unexpected beauty. End quote. Continuing on, we have Everything is an Emergency, an OCD story in words and pictures by Jason Adam Katzenstein. Quote, Jason Adam Katzenstein is just trying to live his life, but he keeps getting sidetracked by his overactive, anxious brain. Mundane events like shaking hands or sharing a drink snowball into absolute catastrophe. Jason has obsessive-compulsive disorder, a mental illness that compels him to perform rituals in order to protect himself from dangers that don't really exist. He checks, washes, overthinks, rinse, repeat. End quote. Following up on Dancing After 10, I want to pick up Dumb, Living Without a Voice by Georgia Weber. Quote, part memoir, part medical cautionary tale, Dumb tells the story of how an urban 20-something copes with the everyday challenges that come with voicelessness. Weber adroitly uses the comic medium to convey the practical hurdles she faced, as well as the fear and dread that accompanied her increased lonely journey to regain her life. Her raw cartooning style, occasionally devolving into chaotic scribbles, splotches of ink, and overlapping montage, perfectly capture her frustration and anxiety. But her ordeal ultimately becomes a hopeful story. Throughout, she learns to lean on the support of her close friends, finds self-expression in creating comics, and comes to understand and appreciate how deeply her voice and identity are intertwined. End quote. Next up, I would like to tackle Invisible Differences, a story of Asperger's, adulting, and living life in full color by Julie Dachez, although there will also be links in this description and the future description about why people should stop using the term Asperger's. Quote, Marguerite feels awkward, struggling every day to stay productive at work and keep up appearances with friends. She's sensitive, irritable at times, makes her environment a fluffy, comfortable cocoon, alienating her boyfriend. The everyday noise and stimuli assault her senses, the constant chatter of her coworkers working her last nerve. Then, when one big fight with her boyfriend finds her frustrated and dejected, Marguerite finally investigates the roots of her discomfort. End quote. After that, I want to read RX, a graphic memoir by Rachel Lindsay. In her early 20s in New York City, diagnosed with bipolar disorder, Rachel Lindsay takes a job in advertising in order to secure healthcare coverage for her treatment, but work takes a strange turn when she is promoted onto the Pfizer account and suddenly finds herself on the other side of the curtain, developing ads for an antidepressant drug. Overwhelmed by her professional life and the self-scrutiny it inspires, her mania takes hold. She quits her job to become an artist, only to be hospitalized by her parents against her will. Over the course of her 2 weeks in the ward, she tries to find a path out of the hospital and the cycle of treatment, one where she can live the life she wants, finding freedom and autonomy without sacrificing her dreams in order to stay well. A quick and easy guide to sex and disability by A. Andrews just had to be on my first TBR list. Quote, All different kinds of broads want to connect with other broads, but lots of them get left out of the conversation when it comes to sex. As explained by disability cartoonist A. Andrews, this easy-to-read guide covers the basics of disability, sexuality, common myths about disabled bodies, communication tips, and practical suggestions for having the best sexual experience possible. Whether you yourself are disabled, you love someone who is, or you just want to know more, consider this your handy starter kit to understanding disability, sexuality, and your path to achieving accessible and fulfilling sex. End quote. Number 9 on my TBR is Stitches by David Small. I read this book maybe a decade ago, but it's a title I've meant to revisit for some time now. Quote, one day, David Small awoke from a supposedly harmless operation to discover that he had been transformed into a virtual mute, a vocal cord removed, his throat slashed and stitched together like a bloody boot. The 14-year-old boy had not been told that he had cancer and was expected to die. End quote. And to conclude this list, I also wanted to re-review Raina Telgemir's trilogy, Smile, Sisters, and Guts. They are categorized as both realistic fiction and nonfiction, but I believe they are largely based on Telgemir's own life, dealing with the issues of family, braces, IBS, and anxiety, among many other things. Which is all I've written so far. Thank you for sticking with me for the entire video. This is something I've been thinking about for a long time. Bye all, keep reading, and resist white supremacy. And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, non-Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.